So yesterday I recorded and uploaded my UFC 283 prediction only to learn through a commenter that Thiago Moises' opponent, Guram Kutateladze, has actually pulled out of his fight. It hasn't been updated on Tapology yet, and I think I might have missed it. I'm going to give myself the benefit of the doubt here and just pray that Thiago Moises tweeted the cancellation before I recorded the video, but it was someone called Cloud that commented, so thank you Cloud for letting me know. And it did give me a video idea. I just almost hit myself on my phone. That would have been actually hilarious. But Thiago Moises has posted on his Twitter, I wouldn't fight myself in Brazil either. But I wish Guram a speedy recovery. It would be a great fight. He's a warrior. Who will be my next opponent? UFC 283. So he still wants to fight at UFC 283, and he wants to fight someone else. An immediate outlet, I can't remember exactly who it was. I think it was MMA Fighting, posted saying that they're looking for a new opponent for Thiago Moises. Now, that's where I'm coming in. I'm going to try and help the UFC out a little bit. I've got a list of quite a few fighters on here. I think there's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think there's 11 fighters on this list that potentially could replace Guram Kutateladze and fight Thiago Moises. Some of them are in the UFC, some of them are not. But I'm going to go through it, and starting with, there's actually only one fighter that replied to this tweet, and his name is Diego Lopes, and he's 21-5. He is a featherweight, but if there's someone that's going to put themselves out publicly and respond and ask for the fight, I feel like they should be like in top contention to actually get the fight, you know what I mean? But you got to look at some of these replies, because I lost brain cells. Someone said Yoel Alvarez. Yoel Alvarez already has a fight booked in Australia, and he wouldn't make the weight on time. And then someone said Charles Du Bronx, like, the former champion's not going to fight Thiago Moises, who is either ranked 15 or unranked. Grant Dawson would be a good replacement, but I don't know if he would make the weight on time. He's got a lot of problems with making weight. And then someone also tagged Milson Castro, and he's actually on my list, so thank you for that tag, whoever that was. So yeah, Diego Lopes, the guy that's called him out, the only guy that I've seen publicly calling for the fight as a fighter. And as I said, if you're going to publicly call out for a fight, for a short notice fight, I do feel like you should be in the number one contention to get the fight. I know there's probably people behind the scenes throwing in their names, getting their managers to make calls, this and that, but there is only one guy that's publicly put his name out there, and his name is Diego Lopes. He's 21-5. He is a featherweight, so he will be a little bit smaller compared to Thiago Moises, but I do believe, yeah, his last fight was at featherweight, just to confirm. He's not really fighting the best competition recently, but he was on Dana White's Contender Series in 2021, and before that he was on a pretty crazy win streak. I do think Diego Lopes would be a pretty suitable replacement. He's from Brazil as well, and that's another part of my criteria, is preferably the fighter would be from Brazil, because to start with, it would be unfair to sign someone to the UFC and then have them have to fly all the way across the world over a period of like 2 weeks and then train, you know what I mean? If they're already in Brazil, they actually have that 2-week period to take the fight and to train anyway. The next one is already in the UFC. The next few are already signed to the UFC. Rafael Alves, he's from Brazil. I believe he trains in Brazil as well, to my knowledge. But yeah, I've got Rafael Alves. I think that he could be a pretty suitable replacement. He is 1-2 in his last couple, but he did lose to Drew Dober, who I think has the number 15 spot right now. So potentially a suitable replacement. I do think he would be able to make the weight on time as well. The next one is Nicolas Motta, 13-4. He's a lightweight from Brazil. He recently did sign to the UFC. He's 1-1. He's got a win over Cameron Van Camp by KO in the first round, but he did lose to Jim Miller. Got to do what you got to do. He's already in the UFC, so they wouldn't have to sign anyone new. He's already in Brazil. I believe he trains in Brazil as well, to my knowledge. And another one is Joaquim Silva. Joaquim Silva, he's 12-3. He's 33 years old. He is on a one-fight win streak over GC Ronson, where he did look pretty good. I believe he trains out of Brazil as well, so that would be pretty easy. You know, you can just get this guy to step in and fight Thiago Moises. But the next one is it's on the list. I'm not sure if he would actually take the fight, but I will give you a hint. And he likes money. So if you throw enough money at this guy, I'm pretty sure he probably would fight Thiago Moises. And it is Renato Moicano, if my laptop's going to load. Now, the reason why I'm not too sure about this one is because I feel like it's just too high risk, low reward for someone like Renato Moicano. You know, he's really building up his name. He's got a big fan base now. I mean, he has already fought a short notice RDA, which is pretty good for him, but I think it's too high risk, too low reward for Moicano, especially when he's potentially looking at a Dan Hooker matchup at UFC 284. You know what I mean? So, yeah, he's on the list anyway. Maybe he could be a replacement, but I don't think he'd be too keen on the fight. Unless you threw a lot of money at him, you know what I mean? The next one is... So the next few fighters are actually fighters that aren't signed to the UFC, because I did get a couple of guys that I think could be suitable replacements on short notice. Malquizale Costa, you might see this guy in corners. He corners a lot of fighters in the UFC, just not in the UFC himself. He's got a pretty good record, 19-5. Spent a lot of time in the LFA. He's on a 2-fight win streak as well. One of them a pretty good win in the LFA over Junior Mallo. He's already pretty familiar with the UFC. As I said, he does corner quite a lot of fighters in the UFC. I do see him around, so I think Malquizale Costa could be a pretty good option. And he did lose to someone called Italo Gomez. And Italo Gomez is also a Brazilian fighter who's also on the list. But Italo Gomez is only on a 1-fight win streak. He did lose to Wellington Prado, which is a name I recognize for some reason. And then he bounced back against a guy that's not really the best. But he does have that win over Malquizale Costa, which is a pretty good win. So maybe UFC could sign this guy. This next one here is actually two options. That could be Thiago Moises, his next opponent. And I'm just waiting for my computer to load. It's really struggling right now. I don't even know what... All I'm doing is recording a video with Google Chrome open. But anyway, Milson Castro versus Roosevelt Roberts. Either of these two could get signed or re-signed for Roosevelt Roberts' case. Roosevelt Roberts was obviously cut from the UFC after he got knocked out by Ignacio Bahamondes. He has beaten then a 20-11 opponent and a 21-10 opponent. He's beaten a couple of good guys. And he's fighting Milson Castro from Brazil. And here's the key, in Brazil. The fight is actually going to be taking place in Brazil. So he's actually already planning to be in Brazil over this sort of period of time. So what they would have to do is just cancel the fight. Find a new opponent for either Roberts or Castro. And then one of them fights... Thiago Moises, I feel like that's an option as well. This next one here is goes against my criteria of already being in Brazil, but it is Colton England. He fought on Dana White's Contender Series. In 2021, he did lose to Manuel Torres in the first round, but it was somewhat controversial at the time. Since then, he's fought 3 times in 3 months. I mean, you gotta respect the activeness, respect the activity, and yeah, a first round finish over 6-3 opponent. Beat a 4-22 opponent. I mean, I guess it happens, doesn't it? And then he fought a 5-1 opponent, Darren Whitney, which was a pretty cool fight. But yeah, Colton England, maybe short notice signing for him. Get him fighting Thiago Moises. Another one here from the same sort of area, James Lontop. He's from Peru. 11-2. He's only 23 years old, so I don't know if you want to sign him super early. He's actually on my Dana White's Contender Series list. But yeah, he's beaten some pretty good opponents himself. He's only 23. Could be a potential option, but yeah, I've got him as well. It is an option. That's the last option. The next one is just kind of looking through the rankings. So, on the unofficial rankings, Thiago Moises is sitting at number 16, and Diego Ferreira is sitting at number 18. There's no 17 for some reason. Oh, there he is. Bobby Green 17. Whatever. I wasn't really thinking about Diego Ferreira. He's meant to fight Guram. Brad Riddell's not gonna fight him. Drew Dober probably wouldn't fight him. I think he's looking for a bigger matchup. Bobby Green just got knocked out. He won't be looking to return soon. Mark Madsen won't be looking to return soon. Paddy Pimblett would not take that fight. Drakkar Close is an option, maybe. He's just got to get to Brazil. Same sort of thing with Vince Pichel. Almost go through this whole list and just give the same reasons. They've just got to give time. Gabriel Benitez already booked with Jim Miller. Claudio Puelles, maybe he could do some redemption and fight Thiago Moises. Same sort of thing. Maybe Clay Guida could fight him. Nasrat Haqparast is injured. You go through the list, and that's where I found Rafael Alves. And then I keep scrolling down. That's where I found Joaquim Silva. I kept scrolling down. That's where I found Crescel Skiagos just lost to Thiago Moises. That's where I found Nicolas Motta. And aside from that, I really don't think there's any good options. I was thinking about Gabriel Miranda, because Gabriel Miranda was signed on short notice to fight Benoit Saint Denis. But that's stooping down the rankings pretty far, you know what I mean? I'm already digging pretty deep for Rafael Alves and Nicolas Motta. But yeah, that's just kind of what I was thinking. Omar Morales is injured as well, so it's not an option. But yeah, let me know what you think of the video, man. It was pretty long. It was almost 10 minutes long. I'm going to squeeze it out to be 10 minutes because of the advertisement thing. Guys, I literally get paid nothing from YouTube whatsoever. They're so stingy, man. Yeah, I'll sneak through. I think that, whoever they replace Guram with, Thiago Moises is going to win. He's going to beat them anyway because it's Thiago Moises, actually pretty damn good fighter. But, yeah, I'll see you the next one.